There's a point in time in any company's life that it comes to an end. And how do you wind a company up? Basically, it has to be removed from the company's office. And in general, there are three ways this can happen. The first and most simplest way is it gets struck off. Now, a strike-off is quite simple. You don't file your annual return. Effectively, the company's office will maintain it every 12 months, and if you don't file your annual return, the company's office will then publish a notice saying that they're satisfied that you're no longer trading and wish to remove yourself from the register. It is the simplest process to go through, but it's also the simplest process to reinstate, because all you have to do is write to the Register of Companies and say it never should have been struck off, it was continuing to trade, file the annual return, and it's immediately reinstated back onto the company's register. Now, if you're wanting to remove your company because you may have ceased trading and you want any comeback from any creditors, this doesn't give you any certainty. Of course, if you're a very simple rental company, for example, and you've sold your last rental property, you could just simply go through the risk of having it struck off, because anyone can make an application to have it reinstated, but the risk is low because it's you or the bank. The second option is what's called a short form liquidation. A short form liquidation basically says you've ceased trading, the shareholders sign a resolution to agree to wind the company up, you write a letter to the IRD and seek their approval to have the company removed, and then you write to the Registrar of Companies and say, shareholders are resolved to wind the company up because it ceased trading. The Commissioner has given their approval for the company to be removed, and effectively it goes through the same process as the strike-off, a publication by the Registrar of Companies to say that the Registrar is satisfied you have ceased trading, and the company is then removed. The certainty that comes from this process is that usually your biggest creditor, being the IRD, has given confirmation there is nothing outstanding and is satisfied for the company to be removed. To go and make an application to reinstate the company means a creditor or any interested party would need to go and lodge a claim with the court and say to the court, actually, they hadn't ceased trading and we deserve to have this company reinstated. An expensive process and one that isn't taken lightly, and so there's some degree of certainty if you genuinely have ceased trading to wind up. This doesn't apply if suddenly your creditors have issued you with proceedings and you want to get out of it by turning around and liquidating the company. Any legal proceedings that are pending or before the court means that you cannot say you have ceased trading. The third option, and of course the most expensive option, is a liquidation, which, if you think, what I fondly call a liquidation proper. This is effectively where the shareholders appoint a liquidator. A liquidator steps into the company and determines that all the assets have been disposed of properly, there are no outstanding creditors, and therefore makes a full application to have the company removed. We often see liquidations as being insolvent, i.e. a creditor has made a claim and stated that as the company cannot meet its debts as they fall due, they should not continue to trade and risk further exposure to the creditors. So there is a stigma that is attached to putting a company into liquidation. It usually implies you have not been able to meet your debts, often seen in construction. And generally speaking, liquidations are the same process for an insolvent liquidation as they are for a solvent liquidation. And this often stops clients from wanting to take this avenue. What a liquidation does, it gives absolute certainty that there can be no comeback. The appointment of the liquidator effectively means they seize control of the company. A liquidator under the Companies Act is accountable only to the court, and they must discharge their duties in a way that satisfies the part of the Act that covers liquidations. If a liquidator has been remiss, then it is actually the creditor makes a claim to the liquidator themselves because they have not followed the due process under the Act, and the liquidator can often be personally liable. So you can be assured with the liquidation being appointed, they take all steps to ensure that the company has ceased trading and all creditors are satisfied before they enter into any form of liquidation. These are the three steps, from simplest to more complex and cheapest to most expensive. And it's about identifying for your particular company what the best process to take is in order to have it removed from the company's office.